The Oakland Hills fire was the single largest dollar loss fire in U.S. history. It did an estimated $1.5 billion in damage, and that was in 1991.
Oakland was just burning down on a beautiful day, and it just looked like a nuclear bomb had gone off or something.
I was flying over the Bay Area and noticed all this smoke. I couldn't believe the size of the fire from the air was it's amazing. It looked like a forest fire.
We lost the whole house and everything in it. Lost my cat, and she just leaped out of my arms at the last minute. And
3,000 houses were destroyed over a period of about 6 hours. We were there for at least 7 days before we came home. We worked 24-hour shifts.
That next morning I gathered my camera gear and I went out and shot and documented the area, which was just fireplaces, mailboxes, anything that was metal or brick was still there. Tires on cars were melted. It was just devastation. And I knew right then that we were going to have quite a few pools on our hand.
This camera was handed to me. I shot all this film. Just being a kid, you know, amazed by what I was seeing around me.
Well, actually, first I saw it and thought, man, there's going to be some pools up there, skateboarding, and then I seen the people's faces and went, wow, this is serious.
Young guys in our 20s struggling, coming out of broken homes, trying to find our way, a little lost. You know, I think a lot of us were dealing with those kind of issues.
Fire's destruction is to our benefit. It created a complete pool wasteland up there. All there was burnt foundations of houses and the pools. That was all that was left.
The thing about Oakland, of course, was that very condensed area with many, many pools that were ready to be drained and skated, and that was good.
I didn't want to go up there right away just because of all the damage I saw. All the people's homes were burnt, and you know, people were just trying to pick through their belongings and what was left of their lives. I definitely wanted to give it a little time and let things blow over.
We'd see people up there all the time, just wandering around looking just like lost souls. You know, there's some place they had lived maybe their whole lives.
You're walking through, you know, charred remains that had just staircases going up to the sky that didn't go to a second floor. And walking through their front yards to the backyard, which is, you know, a couple feet away, and skating a pool.
We waited a month or so and then just started driving around. There'd be bands of cars driving around the hills with a bunch of skaters and cranking speed metal, just looking for pools. It was fun and sad at the same time because you saw these people rummaging through their stuff and their lives are ruined, and we couldn't be happier.
Yeah, double power jock off! All right!
Everywhere you went, there was another car going this way or that way, stopping. Where are you going?
The Dutchman is dead! The Dutchman is dead!
It was just like kind of like an Easter hunt. It was insane because it was just like discovering all these different pools. You never knew when you were going to turn the corner and there was going to be another one.
Skateboarders relish in the fact that the hunt is part of the mission. That's the great part about it. If you find your own pool and you're digging with it, you hold it like sacred, like a girlfriend or a cool place to eat. Pool skaters are much more utilitarian. They tend to have buckets, brooms, duct tape, and stuff like that on their person or within their vehicles at any given time.
Pool skaters don't even care. They're just charging it. They want a session. There's water in the pool or there's muck in the pool. They're draining it. They're in there getting dirty, and you know, that's what it's all about. You know, just getting down and dirty. Whatever you got to do to ride that pool, whatever you got to do.
We're like little mutant ants that came in and invaded the pools. They're like the people that left the garbage out, and we came and took it.
Shit stains!
Pool skaters just really make the most out of a resource that no one else is really thinking anything about.
Look at that weathered board.
At the time, I had a Dodge Dart, which had an enormous trunk. Of course, you can fit 4 or 5 bros in the car and whatever you need for tools to clean the pools out with. it was pretty much up to you. If you wanted to ride these pools and get them drained, I mean, you got to get out and get your hoses and buckets and just start driving through the hills and maintenancing.
Westmoreland, right here. That's the spot. Isn't the hectic love scene? Quite interesting.
Got a suck on it. Not only was everything, you know, burnt and devastated, but they also pretty much by then, by the time we really were skating, they'd cleared away a lot of the debris. So it was just clean foundations, chimneys, pools, ash.
If you're looking for pools to ride back in, 91, 92 in North California, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack pretty much.
I grew up seeing magazines with just so many great pictures of pool rippers, and this is what I've wanted my whole life.
Ruben.
The locals of that time and era were definitely Ruben, Orkin, Hsiang, Matt Neely.
That's when the Marin boys kind of connected with the Berkeley, Oakland boys. They were just the dudes, the tweakers. They're all kind of punky, and it was just funny. We were more like redneck surfer skater dudes from Mill Valley, which was a weird mix.
Curtis and Ruben together, they had inherent needs for speed, but at the same time, they were just reckless. And I'm always drawn to people that are just like, I could care less about life or nor limb.
That's what always excited me with riding with those guys, is because they were so creative and they were just so down for riding pools and grinding, real like pool coping, that it was just, it was in their blood. That's what they lived for.
These were the older guys that we'd seen around in the magazines. All these guys were doing what they loved to do and guiding other people. What it is? And pushing other people.
Oh my God. Ruben was like this intense skater, but he was super funny. Like, he was like the funniest guy you've ever met. He was always cracking jokes, and no matter who you were, you liked Ruben.
He's always a good guy and straightforward, and just you always knew what you're getting with Ruben, which was cool. No bullshit.
He was just a real loose, wild guy, just always happy and down for a skate no matter who was at the session. Just like giving you props for frontside grind or giving you props if you slammed.
Whenever I wanted to go skate up there, it was call Rube. Rube just killed it.
Get some!
He was always pumped up, he'd get you excited about skating.
He had all this energy, and it was just when he'd skate, he'd make these noises and go, ah, ah! And he was quick, he was like a mongoose.
Curtis was a nice guy, polite, soft-spoken, destroyed pools like nobody else. The gnarliest, stretched out, laid back, knees bent, crazy flapping frontside grinders you've ever seen. Gnarly frontside airs. Curtis was the epitome of gnar dog in the pool. Yeah, Curtis.
Curtis was so inspiring to me because he was older than me and he ripped harder than most people up there, and his just go for it attitude for broke, no pads, bang your head on the concrete or whatever, slam on your hip, he'd just get right back up and finish what he was trying to pull off.
Curtis show up with a Chinaman hat, fucking out to here, and he's just fucking skating all crazy and just like rad,
He took his board apart one day and was like, hey man, here I'm getting a new board, so take this, and it was nice meeting you and stuff. And of course I looked up to him. He was like this guy that was kind of weird and crazy and ripped.
I saw Curtis knock his shoulder out of socket 3 times in one session, and he would go up to the wall, bam, knock it back in. Yeah, and you'd just be sitting there with your jaw on the ground every time going, knowing, you know, that it would like have killed any normal person.
There was a lot more to Curtis than just his skateboarding. He was a really deep individual. He was an art instructor over at CCAC in Oakland. Matt Neely, he was a big fixture in skateboarding.
Matt was one of my best friends. We went to school together, and he's actually the one person who got me into pool skating.
Matt was a great guy, and so into pool skating you wouldn't even believe it. And even if you saw him talk about it, you still wouldn't believe how into it he was.
Poolism. Oasis. The true wonder wall.
Dude, the game face came on when he got to the pool. It was serious business, you know, for Neely. It was his ultimate high, I think. And he was a noodle, man. The guy could weasel in and out of the most ridiculous trannies. Come off of these frontside grinds that weren't even makeable. Wheels completely lapped, rail touching, almost hanging up, stalled out, and just falling back into the pool, and he would make it.
I've had Matt's picture on my wall years before I ever met him in the Thrasher subscribe little pull-out doing a fucking indie grab edger. For me, that edger, before I ever met him, I thought that is all about skating right there.
Definitely a punching bag for our group of friends, but he was always a pretty good sport about it.
His artwork is just unbelievable. To this day, it's hanging on my wall. It's just unbelievable.
I think Matt Neely's poolism theory was about just the different energies that hide within the pool, and it's up to the skateboarder to kind of tap into those energies and really kind of use them to their fullest extent. Like we used to call it cartoon time once in a while. When all of a sudden you hit a line, you're like, shit, man, you got zipped out of that line. You got a lot of speed, and you just like blasted you over here, and there was something weird happening over in that part of the pool. Go check it out, kind of thing. And that's kind of what he constantly explored. He used to say, I'm looking for the wonder wall, you know? And that's the kind of thing it was. The poolism was the search for the wonder wall, the energies in the pool.
Originality I don't neglect, as I put myself in check like DOS effect, introspect, circumspect, deep and direct. What's up next? I smoke mechs, I drink Bex, I need sex, and I'm orthogenetic, psychokinetic, spiritualistically emphatic. I just want to live my life stream like Noah Selasnik, but nevertheless I get erratic, super spastic, and dyspeptically dramatic. Cause I'm just a dramatic, dogmatic, addict, narcoleptic, insomniac, and I'll be kicking on back with big fat endo sack. I'm not a wannabe player or a Mac Daddy. I don't drive a caddy or...
I remember one time, this neighbor just spies us down there and just starts freaking out, yelling at us.
What do you think the barbed wire's there for, huh?
Don't you realize what you're doing? Those poor people already lost everything. You're here just ruining.
Like this, okay? Let the police decide, huh? We'll see. I sure can, buddy. You're trespassing.
Okay, well,
You're trespassing.
Okay, all right. Can I tell you one thing?
I do have to do something.
Get out of my face, man. Don't touch me or else you are gonna get in lots of trouble. Let go of me.
I guess they'd kind of consider it like we were dancing on someone's grave.
We're not trying to, like, you know, offend them in any way. We're just doing this art form, this creative expression, whatever you want to call it, type of deal.
Every time the cops did show up, they would say, you guys got to get out of here, and that would be okay. So we'd just go drive to another pool and skate. They came to that one, we'd just go to another one.
Get going, huh? Skate another one. I don't know, maybe we were raping and pillaging the landscape.
I just remember the beautiful sunny days when just looking around this wasteland, and here we are, we're harvesting fruit from a dead tree.
Skatopia, you know? It was the culmination of every skater's dream, you know? Perfect terrain, you know, spawned out of hellfire, you know?
After a while, word spread how many sick pools there were up there, and people started showing up from all over, driving up from Southern Cal and driving down from Oregon and stuff. So it definitely drew a lot of skaters to the Oakland Hills.
People came from everywhere. You never knew who you'd run into up here. Random people from East Coast, up north, Hawaii, whatever. You know, they might just be some other dirtbag like you, or, you know, some rock star pro.
There's no us against them. You know, we never saw these guys before, but we had a common thread of pool skating.
It just opened up a whole new life for me, really, you know. I met people that were really nice and had the same ideas that I had. And I hadn't had that since I was a young kid.
I'd say it was probably the best vibe in skateboarding I've ever had in my whole life.
It was definitely one of the most concentrated areas with the biggest variety of pools I've ever skated in my life.
Yep, skated 10 pools today. The idea of the fact that you skate 10 pools in one day, those are epic days of your life.
That's where everybody was. It was the epicenter for the time. If you were into riding pools, that's where you were.
I've met hundreds of people through ramp skating, skating parks or street, but the only people I've actually stayed friends with are people that have ridden the pool together. I don't know, maybe it's just the love of the concrete and the vertical and the carving and just kind of balls out.
You know, those guys were some of the best things to happen to me in my life. Those people. You know, it wasn't necessarily the pool. The pools were sick. Yeah, it was great. We skated them. We had a lot of fun. But I mean, if I could trade back the people for the pools, I'd instantly trade back all those experiences to have those guys back.
As homes started to be rebuilt, neighbors moving in, it was more and more difficult for us to skateboard in the pools that were left.
Oh! Oh! Oh my gosh!
We started losing some of those pools, and we lost our friends.
Ruben did some x-rays. They found some black spots or something in his lungs. So they had to do a biopsy in his lungs, and then he came back and said he had cancer, lung cancer. Pretty fucked up. He's 27, 28 years old. Floored all of us. I mean, all of us were so tight. Everything was perfect. We were all working, all skating. Most of us girlfriends, and just everybody was pretty happy, which was pretty hard.
He had a very, very good attitude about it the whole time, though.
He was just a role model for all of us, which was crazy. He just made us all kind of look at ourselves and just hopefully get our shit together. Not everybody did when they should have, but he was fighting cancer and riding his bike home from chemotherapy, and some of the best sessions I've ever had with him were when he was in between treatments, and he was just killing it.
I read about his cancer in Thrasher magazine. Jake Phelps had done a benefit for Ruben.
Usually death's so quick, you never get a chance to say goodbye. You know, we all wanted to tell him that we loved him. That was the Rubathon to me.
Ruben passed away in a short 18 months, I think it was, since he was diagnosed.
It was like the first funeral I'd ever gone to for a really close friend like that.
That was a bad Christmas. It's one of those years where you're like, can't get any worse.
Bikers get nailed. They're right there on the side of the road. It's dangerous. It's just too bad that it had to happen to Matt's mom, who was his best friend in the world. When his mom died, he said, "I hope I'm all right in 6 months." I think it was almost 6 months to the day that happened to him.
I heard that he died on New Year's Eve and heard it was an overdose, and I was like a shock.
Yeah, he had his demons, you know. He had certain issues with substance abuse and issues with confidence, and he had issues, life issues, that drugs and all that crap do not help. And mixed with that, compounded, well, it's not a happy ending, you know. Too many drugs mixed with too many emotions.
And it was really sad because he had his shit together, and then his mom dying kind of pushed him back, I think.
I think Matt died of a broken heart, pretty much.
So we had lost 2 really good friends within, you know, a year.
A week later, we were skating for Matt at a memorial party, just in memory of Matt, and Curtis was on the ramp.
Smacked a big old frontside air on the left-hand extension. Came in, landed, went up to do a tail block on the other side on the extension, and
He just bailed and did his usual like flop on the ground, and he just got up off the ground, and Royce did a big low to high ollie.
I flew over this jump. I saw Curtis fall in my back and just my side view. I had to jump over him. I thought my board hit him in the head. It was pretty heavy.
and then he fell over in like a spasm, you know.
I jumped down right away and I tried to help Curtis. I gave him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
I've been around a few people when they were dying, and it's like you don't have a clue what to do, you know.
I freaked out, you know, because I kind of, by the look in his face, I knew that that was it.
It was just a complete shock. He dropped dead in front of us with a heart attack.
Ambulance came and they could do nothing.
And I was at Alameda Skate Park that day when this guy comes up and tells me, he goes, yeah, did you hear about Curtis? Curtis Hsiang? He goes, he died today. I was just like, just turned white as a ghost. I was just like, oh my God.
Best friend's funeral, best friend dies, you know, good friend.
Curtis, I think, is notable in one regard, is that he died skating, which I can't tell you, that must be the ultimate way to go.
It took like a year to just kind of feel good about skating again, because I associated skating with Ruben and Curtis more than anything.
Yeah, now when I skate, I think a lot about those guys. I think mostly about Neely because I skated mostly with Neely.
Some days I really am skating and I feel it and I go, oh, I want to grind this for Ruben because he'd get so pumped, you know, and they're just things like that, you know. Sometimes those things make you do it, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you want to be like, I'm going to do it for the guys, but you're just sad and just like, you know, it's not always motivating.
Whenever I sit there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm pushing in, I'm going in, I think just cruise it, you know, because that's what me and Neely tried to do.
I burn boards for my dead friends. I take parts of them with me wherever I go. Not like scars, but as an honor, badge of honor for me, to say, hey, you know, I knew him.
Oh, Oakland Hills now, I mean, there's still a few signs of the fire, but I mean, the houses that people rebuilt are even better than the ones that were burned down. And the pools look better than they did before too. Cancer is like a show place now. You know, I'm not too down with their color scheme, but the pool looks like unbelievable again.
I did find out that life goes on. We rebuilt here and a better house, and you know, there's things to look forward to.
So basically just kind of going from there, just trying to enjoy it. Next phase is getting my son into it.
Rebirth, I suppose, you know, and so in that sense, I think we were bringing a lot of life back into the hills.
Yeah, what was it, 3 years solid that it was booming up there? It was just a flash. But it shaped us incredibly in different ways and brought us all together.
I think you really have to live every moment, you know, as if it counts. Every day counts, because it might be the last day of your life. You never know.